Santa Ana versus Costa Mesa is an unlikely comparison that happens way more often than you might think for some reasons a lot of people really aren't aware of, especially if you're just looking at Orange County or looking to move around. These are two cities that are growing immensely in popularity for a lot of similar but some also different reasons as well too. So I'm going to go ahead and go through a comparison of the two different cities to hopefully make your life a little bit easier. I'm going to be giving you the context from me as a team leader of Onyx Homes, where we have helped over 800 people move all over Southern California just since 2020. Now, I make these videos and this channel all about Orange County just so that we can help you make your next move a little bit easier so you can make a better decision. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the most important of all things is location. When we're dealing with real estate, obviously location is massive. Now, one of the major reasons why there's such a big price disparity between the two cities is simply location. So where Costa Mesa sits, it is, if I'm pulling up a Google map here, let me just do this. So if I'm looking at where Costa Mesa is at in Orange County overall, you've got Santa Ana kind of north heart of Orange County, and then you got Costa Mesa down here a little bit farther south. So I would say Costa Mesa is like on the border of central Orange County to north Orange County, and Santa Ana, I would say, is in Orange County. Irvine's kind of this line, right? So this kind of line that goes like this. So Costa Mesa is in a much more desirable location simply because it's closer to the ocean, right? You can see that it's quite a bit closer to the ocean than Santa Ana is. I would say the biggest difference, though, is the surrounding areas. So if you look at Costa Mesa, you will basically drive to Irvine and then you pass Costa Mesa on your way to Newport Beach. So you are smashed in between two of the most desirable cities in all of Orange County, which just by nature makes Costa Mesa super valuable from a real estate perspective, but also very desirable. So for example, if you don't want to pay the massive premium for Newport Beach, but you like the location, well, then Costa Mesa is an obvious choice there as well too. Now, aside from that, Santa Ana from a location standpoint is arguably almost as central as Irvine is, meaning that it's really convenient. So as you can see where Santa Ana is at, you've got the 55, you've got the 5 freeway, you got the 22, you're not too far away from the 405. So that if you are commuting to either LA or the Inland Empire, Santa Ana is going to be a little bit more convenient. Not a lot more because they're pretty close together to either way, but in comparison to Costa Mesa versus Santa Ana, because Santa Ana is definitely more convenient to get all over the place. So that leads us into section number 2 that I want to talk about is the real estate. All right, so I'm going to go to our website here, Onyx Homes, and if you haven't been to our new website, I highly recommend checking this thing out. But I got Costa Mesa and Santa Ana properties pulled up. Now I want to narrow this down to just residential to get rid of any of the manufactured housing because both of these cities actually do have them. So there are 434 properties available, and what I want to do is I want to show you just kind of where they're at, and they really bleed into each other in a very north and south area. So let's look at the most expensive stuff, right? So let's look at the highest price point stuff between the two cities. And most of this, almost all of this, you're going to see is in Costa Mesa. So here's a hot stat for you. The median home price between Santa Ana and Costa Mesa, we're talking $800,000 in Santa Ana versus $1.45 million in Costa Mesa. Now, I will say both areas have high end and both areas have way more affordable areas that are maybe slightly less desirable, but there are pockets in both, right? So we want to talk about these. So as we kind of scroll through these, you can see the city here. We're talking Costa Mesa is going to be pretty much all of these until we see if there are any listings available in Floral Park, which is in Santa Ana. But there's a lot between the $3 and $4 million price range. Not a lot really, to be honest, a good handful of them. And I want to keep scrolling down here until we see something pop up in Costa Mesa, or rather in Santa Ana, right? Because everything we've seen so far is in Costa Mesa. We're all the way down to the $2 million mark. So as you can see from a price point perspective, Costa Mesa has a way higher end than Santa Ana does, but there's definitely is a luxury to Santa Ana as well too. I'm all the way down to 1.8 and we haven't pulled anything in Santa Ana quite yet. There we go. So the first property that pulled up in Santa Ana is at $1.7 million. So the highest in Costa Mesa was $4 million, and there are even higher price points than that will hit the market occasionally. So from a real estate perspective, you're going to see if you're looking for higher end, if you have a higher end budget, you're going to have way more options in Costa Mesa. It's just overall more expensive. Now on the opposite side of that, let's look at the most affordable stuff. So you're actually might be surprised here. Yes, there's a lot of affordable housing in Santa Ana in the 300,000 to 400,000 range. This MacArthur Boulevard, we've helped several of our customers move into this neighborhood and also sell. And then same thing with Bear Street as well too. So, but you're also going to see there are affordable places in Costa Mesa, right? We're in the 450 range. Haven't seen anything in Costa Mesa yet. But here's the first one that pops up at $475,000 for a 1-bed, 1-bath. So you certainly can be affordable and live in one of the arguably the most desirable areas in all of Orange County. So if you are a first-time home buyer or if you're a luxury buyer, Costa Mesa is an option that checks a lot of those different boxes. Now, Santa Ana, in the same regard to real estate, has some very, very desirable areas. There are just not a lot of housing, and they very rarely come up for sale. Floral Park is probably the most desirable one. So you will generally see bigger lots in Santa Ana than you would in Costa Mesa, but honestly, it really depends where you're looking. So talking about you and your unique situation is always going to be the most helpful part. Now, if you want to do that, the easiest way to do it is to go to the link in the description down below, or you can go to allaboutoc.com. And you can just book a call to chat with our team and do a discovery call. There's no cost, no obligation. We just want to learn about your situation, see how we can help you save money, make your life a little bit easier, and protect you through the process. So worst case scenario is you spend a little bit of time, we can't help you out. Best case scenario is we can save you tons of money, find you off-market properties, and keep you protected. But anyway, let's dive back into the video. So we compared location, we compared real estate values. Let's now compare things to do. So think of this like the cultural topic, or rather the lifestyle topic for these two different cities. So Santa Ana is a cultural hub. There's a lot of Latino heritage, downtown nightlife, the Santa Ana Zoo, super fun. You have Bowers Museum, and there's constant street festivals. So I would say this is where Costa Mesa and Santa Ana are very similar with some distinct differences. So Santa Ana, all of those things that I just said, has a lot of nightlife. So if you're looking for a place to be able to go do things and have fun and go out and live in the same city, Santa Ana is a fantastic option. So is Costa Mesa. I would say the big caveat difference is you'll typically see slightly more upscale in Costa Mesa than you would in Santa Ana. You will also feel way more coastal in Costa Mesa than obviously you will in Santa Ana as well. I say obviously, in Costa Mesa as well too. Now, as far as things to do, you have some big name things in Costa Mesa that Santa Ana does not have. So for example, the City of Arts, the Segerstrom Center, which is massive right next to South Coast Plaza. You have South Coast Plaza. You've got the Lab and the Camp, which are like shops and breweries that are super, super popular, very trendy down in Costa Mesa, and that's only going to continue. Lots of breweries and boutique shops, coffee shops, trending, a lot of trending stuff in Costa Mesa. Santa Ana does as well too, but I would say that's where the cities are very similar. Very, very similar as far as if you're looking for a city to live in and things to do. I think both of these hit the list. I would go hang out in either one and just kind of see what you think overall, because they do have different vibes, but overall, there's a lot to do either city. So kind of on that note, the fourth thing I'm going to talk about is overall community within the two cities. So Costa Mesa is going to be more laid back, more coastal, more creative, artsy maybe a little bit. And Santa Ana is going to be more urban. There's more active government. There is a big sense of diversity that you will see in Santa Ana. I think is a big part of it. And there's just a lot of redevelopment going around. So I would say Costa Mesa is way ahead of Santa Ana in a redevelopment stance, and it's simply just because Newport has spread into Costa Mesa, whereas Santa Ana is, I would say, in the beginning stages of like a revitalization. So that's kind of the difference as far as a community standpoint. But again, this is also very similar between these two. They just have a little bit of a different vibe between them. So last thing we're gonna do is pros and cons. So let's put these things side by side. Your Costa Mesa is more expensive, but there's also affordable in Costa Mesa. This is a con for both areas. Have spotty areas that you're going to want to be aware of, right? So these are just, you're going to want to know if you're in a particular part of the city that it's definitely not as desirable as other parts. So this is where I would say talk to a real estate expert. We can only give so much information out on videos. That's a huge con for both cities. A big pro for both cities, I would say they're both up and coming. That's one big thing. I would say a huge pro for Santa Ana is the convenience from location standpoint for commuting. However, I would say Costa Mesa definitely takes the pro if you're not a commuter and you want to be just central to everything in Orange County, Costa Mesa takes the cake there, I think, just because it's more coastal. If you factor in price there, it's almost twice as expensive. So is that make it worth it? Depends on your budget. So I think at the end of the day, if you're looking for a city to live in that has things to do and a variety of different types of real estate, it comes down to, do you want to be coastal and do you want to pay the money for Costa Mesa, is my overall at the end of the day. Now, are there reasons you would live in one city over the other? Absolutely. But I want to know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts between Costa Mesa versus Santa Ana? Now, I've got two different videos for you. If you're watching this and you're leaning more towards Costa Mesa, I've got this one for you here. And if you're leaning more towards Santa Ana, I've got this one over here for you. So make sure you watch either one that makes the most sense for you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.